And now it's time for another edition of What Would Jello Do? Oh, can't understand me, can you? What should we do? Is this any better? Can you understand me now? Oh, I guess not. How about this one? Is this any better for you? Oh, I guess I got to do the Chris Cuomo thing instead here. I don't know. Okay, well, first, the good news. At least one good thing happened in March. Trump lost $1 billion of his money that he supposedly has because of COVID-19, and Forbes says he's only worth about $3 billion to begin with. That, no wonder he was so obsessed with the economy and everything. He's about to lose his money. The bad news, of course, is that Bernie Sanders has withdrawn from the presidential race, or has he? He announces he's dropping out, but then says people should go out and vote for him anyway to amass as many delegates as possible at the Democratic Convention in order to influence the Democratic Party platform. This is what he did pretty successfully last time, so announcing he's dropping out is a little weird to me. But now, of course, we got more bad news. The pandemic of this particular coronavirus is not nearly as scary right now as how it's being handled, where we now have a whole pandemic going on, at least in this country, of disaster capitalism. You know disaster capitalism, right? It's that Naomi Klein term for when people storm into Iraq after we invade, or into Haiti after an earthquake, or Puerto Rico after the hurricane. How can we scam off of this and loot the place as much as possible? That's also what we did to Germany after World War I. What happened in the long run? Hitler. It's what we did to the Soviet Union much more consciously, and the Clintons were in charge during most of this. And then what do we get in the end? Instead of a Marshall Plan, we got Putin. Surprise, surprise. And now what they're trying to use the coronavirus for, EPA announcing, hey, we're just not going to enforce any environmental regulations. Pollute all you want. Pollute the air, pollute the water. We don't care, even if we get more and more pollution in the air and there's more and more cases of coronavirus that people can't fight because their lungs are so messed up. State of Texas, Alabama, and others are saying, oh, because of coronavirus, you can't have abortion clinics anymore. Hey, don't we need Planned Parenthood, who isn't mainly abortion clinics anyway, to help test people? Well, at least if we had tests, we could. And they keep pussyfooting around, really going pedal to the metal with the Defense Production Act to get all these companies to start making ventilators, masks, screens, and what we need to keep more people from dying of COVID-19 and prevent the rebound that looking more and more like it's going to happen. And in the meantime, Jared Kushner's saying, oh, these ventilators, they're ours. The states can't have them. Who exactly is ours? No, no, no. We want loot the Soviet Union type disaster capitalism where states are in bidding wars with each other for overpriced ventilators and possibly even toilet paper. We need masks. We need masks. They finally decide. They ask Thailand, hey, you got any masks? Please send us some masks. And Thailand's reply is, hey, there's a whole boatload of masks on their way to us right now, and we got them from you. Just like the last shipment of masks. How did that happen? This is what happens when you never fill positions like ambassador and cabinet secretaries. It's acting this, musical chair of amateur hour 2018. They ended what I now find out was called the PREDICT program, the very one that was $200 million a year to identify things like COVID-19 right when they first spot them and fight them right there. We were the ones who identified that in Wuhan when it was first discovered. 60 laboratories worldwide, program cut. And now, 10 days after World Health Organization declares a public health emergency, Trump proposes cutting the Center for Disease Control's budget another 16% after already looting it for $1.8 billion for his big, beautiful wall, or some to pay for all his junkets to Mar-a-Lago and his other golf courses, you name it. There's only 5 cases. Everything's gonna be great. Everything's gonna be great. Then it's not so great. We need ventilators. New York alone is tens of thousands of them short, according to the governor. And, oh, well, these federal ventilators, a lot of them, it turns out they don't work. Why? Because the Trump regime let the contract expire for the company that was inspecting them all the time and maintaining them. Let that expire in 2018. I don't know whether that was intentional or just sheer incompetence, but it is one reason not to privatize so many things, isn't it? And what are they going to do if the St. Louis Federal Reserve is right and there may be as many as 50 million new unemployment claims by the end of June? And what are they going to do when people started getting medical bills for $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 because they were in intensive care for days, if not weeks, and on those ventilators? Medicare for all, anybody? Well, no. Instead, he announces earlier today that he's going to finally convene a council of business and medical leaders to, quote, reopen America. That is what South Korea did in about a week after they had one coronavirus case clear back at the end of January. Only now does it occur to them in this country. And what do they want to do? Aim it towards disaster capitalism so Trump doesn't keep losing $1 billion a month because nobody wants to pay money to stay at his hotels or play golf on his courses. And even if he says that the council of all these leaders, my pillow in charge, perhaps, I don't know. No, you know who's really going to be in charge, just like they are now in his shadowy little counter council to Dr. Fauci and everything else? Baby Rasputin himself, Jared Kushner. Jared, there are ventilators. The states can't have them. Kushner. The same baby Rasputin who is trying to turn, in his own version, not just disaster capitalism, but disaster corporate coup, to try and get a program to keep everybody under surveillance to find out who's seeking medical treatment for what and where they're going around after that. Oop, not going to Mar-a-Lago, not going to a Trump hotel. You better go home or something. And he wants to incorporate this, just like they did with the Patriot Act, to see who was checking what books out from the library, everybody's medical records. And meanwhile, your friend and mine, William Barr, has asked Congress to pass legislation that anybody arrested for any reason can be jailed indefinitely without trial until Donald Trump and William Barr and baby Rasputin say the crisis is over. So, with that in mind, where is Joe Biden right now? He's just kind of hiding. He's not even doing a Chris Cuomo thing or trying to stay in the news or doing anything newsworthy at all. I guess I'll just sit around and mope and hope I don't lose the election because I never get to go campaign or anything. Come on. Trying to figure out who the vice president is going to be is not important. How about showing them a real president right now and showing them what you would do if you were president, what we need to have done the minute you get in? Okay, Biden's probably not up for that, is he? But Bernie probably is. And he's already been trying, but only The Guardian will publish his op-eds. No, don't leave the town hall biz to Anderson Cooper and Blitt Butzer and that crew. Make your own. Acting like, okay, just like a shadow government in Britain or Canada, this is what I would do right now, and this is what we do if we can get Trump out of office. Trump lays off 700 doctors from the Center for Disease Control. Hire them back now. Reactivate the global pandemic unit that was part of the National Security Council now. dragnet for applications for people to apply for these jobs now, and then hire them now, use Bloomberg's money to pay for them or something, or encourage them to just do what some people did when they closed factories in South America and the owners ran off, show up for work and start making this stuff anyway. I'm not going to bump into that again here. Better. Okay, do this now, okay? Then you can have your own global pandemic bureau. They could start showing up for work anyway, meet somewhere, even virtually, and say, okay, this is what we need to do now. If Trump won't summon the right people for his new corporate and medical council on what to do to reopen the economy, and better yet, not reopen the economy until we're sure this thing is plateaued and everybody ain't going to get sick again, summon your own people, but don't do it in private, do it in public. Just like Trump's little press conferences, have all the discussions go on live on the internet, not behind closed doors. This sure beats that My Pillow dude telling everybody to read their Bible and everything will be okay, and make the point that right now everybody must have health care, whether they are privately insured or not, or we're just going to have more and more people not seeing a doctor, because even if they're sick, because they're afraid of the bill that's going to come. Here's a really good op-ed from a few days ago that Bernie Sanders wrote that nobody else carried as far as I know. We cannot rely on Trump. Congress must lead the way in this unprecedented crisis. Great point from Bernie. It makes a lot more sense to prevent I have to do it in his voice too. It'll sound like Trump's voice if I can't imitate him good enough. Okay, in my view, it makes a lot more sense to prevent the collapse of our economy than figuring out how we put it back together after it crumbles. This is the ideas that need to be as out there as Trump putting the My Pillow guy in front of the podium on TV. And he then points out, this is not a radical idea. Make sure everybody is getting paid and not just the airline companies. This is similar to what France, Norway, Denmark, and the UK and other countries are already doing. In addition, guaranteed paid medical and sick leave for all workers. And finally, an immediate moratorium on evictions, foreclosures, and utility shutoffs, and suspend payments on rent and mortgage loans for everybody's residents during the entirety of this crisis. Don't lock them all in jail like Barr wants to do. Make sure everybody survives. If it means we miss payments on another nuclear aircraft carrier, nuclear bombs, a wall in the southern part of the country, fine. This is a national security issue. This is what's more important. And keep reminding people of all those individuals that Congress and Robert Mueller recommended to the Justice Department that they be prosecuted. Donald Jr., Eric Prince, Michael Flynn, all those people, and then commit to reopening those investigations once you are in charge. And then if you push and push and push Biden to agree to that, it puts him in a spot where he can't just pull a Barack Obama, Eric Holder, and yes, Joe Biden, and just not prosecute all those people for the crimes and let Bush and all those people get away with war crimes. And let Wall Street get away with stealing from everybody. And of course, not prosecuting the vote fraud, the real vote fraud that got Bush 2 terms, which he didn't win, and Trump a term he didn't win. It wasn't Putin, it was our domestic vote fraud, monkeying with the vote. That needs to be dealt with too. Push for it now. If it sounds like a broken record, it's fine. They say Bernie sounds like a broken record. It's because he has good points and he's right and he wants people to listen to them and think about them. And let's not forget the broken, terrified, tortured children still in cages at our southern border. That's completely out of the news. Talk about sensible immigration reform. Start doing it now and acting like you're president, and this is what you're doing. Same deal. And for that matter, watch out for the new vote fraud. Another thing that just came out is that very same Eric Prince, Mr. Blackwater, Mr. Go-Between, one of them with the Russians, that meeting in the Seychelles that helped get Trump in and everything else. Well, Wisconsin and what happened with their primary that the Supreme Court signed off on for political reasons, that's just a dry run of what they want to do. Prince is working with Project, is it Veritas or Veritas? I'm not sure. The one that James O'Keefe runs, shows up with hidden cameras and microphones to try to do gotcha stings on, Acorn and others. Well, Prince was showing them how to hire actual spooks who were unemployed from his little rogue spy ring to infiltrate noted terrorists such as the Michigan Federation of Teachers. Michigan chapter of the American Federation of Teachers, mess with Democratic congressional candidates, employing honest-to-God spooks, as well as giving O'Keefe's people paramilitary training on his ranch in Wyoming. This is the kind of stuff going on when it's all corona all the time, and somebody needs to expose it. Plenty to do, Joe. Plenty to do, Bernie. Plenty to do, Amy. Plenty to do, Elizabeth Warren. You got to do your town halls too, preferably with Bernie and with Biden if need be. That would actually help, because otherwise what we are looking at, if we somehow, thankfully, don't lose, Trump says if we only lose 200,000 dead, he's doing, quote, very good job. That's why he's setting it up so he can spin this whole thing by November. See what a good job I did. You've got to give me another term because I am great. We got to keep America great. And people are falling for this. His poll numbers already, he's more popular than he's ever been just because he looks like he's finally doing something, even if he's farmed it out to baby Rasputin yet again. Meanwhile, odds are that he and Mr. Barr are digging through all kinds of law books right now to see if they can find a way that the Supreme Court will sign off on in using the second tidal wave of COVID-19 in the fall as an excuse to cancel the election.